Wave.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It's Thursdays with Domonique Foxworth. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? There's lots of reasons to hate you right now.
Oh, man, say what's up to Larry
really
right
big
fast.
reason, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I apologize to Emmy. She in the back, but right now, Larry got to take priority. The NBA dropped the Larry O'Brien trophy off with us right now. Domonique, it come in a Tiffany bag, and what you can't see is that they got all the teams that have been champions. Their names is down here in the trophy, like going around.
That's pretty dope. I feel like it's super cool to have it on your desk, take a picture, holding the Larry. But like you in Harlem, I feel like you got to take it outside.
You know, that's a great idea. 2 points on that. Number 1, Larry is heavy.
Yeah.
Number
Larry
2,
is heavy.
Larry is not mine.
Yeah.
And number 3, most important, the man that brought Larry is sitting on the other side of that wall to make sure nobody does anything silly with Larry. But I can see myself right here and then Emmy over there with Larry. Like it's a great shot that we got here with Larry. But let everybody know that it's serious in the field right here. The Right Time is a championship operation.
I love it. Congratulations to The Right Time on being the home to the Larry for a little bit. It's awesome, man. It's pretty cool. We saw it last year. It's pretty heavy, too.
I was about to say, shout out to Dominique's decency for not mentioning the day it actually had it the year before. But if I had waited just a little while longer, it was going to come up.
I said saw it. I said we saw it.
I wasn't even going to be mad, by the way.
Yeah. No. That's some sideways hating shit. No, like to be like a man is happy about something. Oh, I've been did that.
Hey, look, man. Like, I want you to guess who I sent a picture of this to, whose response was, yo, what the hell?
The one and only. It's got to be Joe, right?
Well, it was the first text was what the hell. The next one was, yo, what the fuck? Now, I think the yo, what the fuck might have been tied to something that came after it, but it's difficult to tell from the timing of the text.
To be fair, that's not necessarily hate. Like,
fair.
You could just be like, oh, what the fuck? Like, you could be happy for somebody. Like, what the hell?
You're right.
I see you player. Like, that could be the same thing.
You're right. I would like to take this opportunity right now to apologize to Joel Anderson for, usually I'm 100% positive that he's hating. This time it was merely 75%, and that is outside the confidence interval. You know what I mean? Like, that's not, I couldn't get that. I couldn't put that in a publishable paper at 75%, right?
I wonder, what is the confidence interval for Joel hating? I feel like
it's a steady state for that man in a lot of ways, right? But now he out in LA living it up right now. We'll start this again. You know, I try to avoid getting too caught up in the media stuff for a number of reasons. However, that boy Draymond stepped in it on Wednesday night, didn't he? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's on the heels of the Rivers stuff too, where it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. I hate to break it down to wins or losses, but I didn't feel like it went well for Draymond. That first one, the second one certainly didn't.
No, this is what happened with Draymond. For people who don't know, he wound up getting in some sort of online back and forth with Austin Rivers, and he really went hard at Austin Rivers and basically discredited the man's whole career and said the biggest bailout of all time was when Austin's daddy gave him a $42 million contract. Draymond said he averaged the same number of points in high school that Austin Rivers did, and all of this stuff. And look, you can say whatever you want about Austin Rivers as an NBA player. Austin Rivers as a high school player is a completely different discussion.
Wasn't he? I mean, I saw his response. He's like, I was the number 1 player in the country.
Yes.
Like that ain't charity. Like, they don't just give that out. I assume that you got a good name, it's going to get more attention. It's going to bump you up the list, but you still got to be nice.
I need you to understand something. And I've not met Austin Rivers. I don't know how things have progressed truly as he has become an adult. I just know the ways that he affected people, shall we say, as a youngster. Okay? It is difficult to make Austin Rivers more likable than you are. That's not easy work. Okay? Draymond Green managed to do that in his back and forth with Austin Rivers. And you'll have to look it up. But the thing that happened with Charles on Inside the NBA, I thought was interesting because Charles is making the point that, look, man, teams that are old don't win. You don't win a lot when you're 37, 38 years old. And he was talking about this in the context of the Warriors. Like, look, you guys are old. This isn't sports are for young people. This isn't how it goes. And Draymond out of nowhere came with the goal is to not look like you did when you played for Houston. And I think I know what happened. Curious if you read this the way that I did. Draymond's feelings were a little bit hurt, or he was a little salty, right? But in his head, it was time to tell a ha-ha.
Yeah, that's it.
And when it came out, he was DMX. Told a joke, and nobody laughed. And you know why? Because it wasn't funny. It was just mean. And what Draymond, I don't think, gets is when he picks on people, it's mean. And nobody likes mean. And Charles is not the most sympathetic figure, but what Charles is not is mean. Right. The women in San Antonio are willing to yuck it up with Charles about him calling them big and everything else. Because somehow Charles can do that and not be mean. This just landed as mean.
That somehow that you just threw out there is the part that is interesting to me because, like, I watched it and I thought had Charles laughed or had someone around there had the reaction that I think Draymond intended, I don't think it would have gone over that way. And that's the part that's interesting to me is I don't understand, and maybe it's about the person in the delivery, but I don't understand why that was so, like, that felt like it was out of bounds because it wasn't really. Like, they talk trash about each other all the time. Like, that's part of the nature of that show. Why in that moment was Charles like, nah, like, I'm not going to, they just were serious.
I will give you a reason why Charles did not respond in that way. Because what he said was wrong.
Yeah.
Wholly, totally, factually inaccurate. If there were pictures to be had of an old and fat Charles Barkley in a Rockets uniform, we would all have the same picture in mind. Right. Because you would see it all the time. And you know how I know you would see it all the time? Because inside the NBA,
we show it all the time.
Would put it out all the time. That picture doesn't exist because Charles wasn't decrepit with Houston. It wasn't any of the things that Draymond described. And Charles, in that time in Houston, did one of the most admirable things ever. Remember, he tore his quadriceps tendon in a game in Philadelphia. And he went through crazy rehab just to come back for the last game of that year because he refused to be carried off in his last game. That's right? Cool. Like this one, two things. I think that's part of it is that it was wrong, but then the other part was, hey, man, they don't fuck with you like that.
That's the big one. That's the big one. Because I think that it could have been interpreted as play like you played, which, like, yeah, Charles wasn't bad at that point, but he wasn't the same version of himself that we remember. He was lower on the pecking order. There were a lot of other people ahead of him. He tore his quad, as you mentioned, in Philly, like that. All that stuff. Or was it Phoenix? It was
in Philly while he played for the Rockets.
Okay, so anyway, the bad part about this whole thing is I actually thought that Draymond's response to the question was interesting and eye-opening and more honest than you expect from a player at that point. But it's all obscured by the fact that we were locked in on the fact that this part went over poorly. But I think you're right. The bottom line is we don't play like that with you. If Kenny would have said that, I feel like, because they go back and forth with each other about the worst things, which all friend groups, male friend groups in particular, yeah.
Well, let me ask this. How would that have gone over had he said something about nobody wants to look like Shaq in a Celtics uniform?
Hilarious.
Whoa. If we can say whatever we want about Charles Barkley, the one thing that we cannot say is that man is unwilling to laugh at himself.
Yeah, for sure.
We will say a lot of things about Shaquille O'Neal. What we will not say is how willing he is to laugh at himself. Shaq would have come back at him with some of the meanest shit you've ever heard in your life.
He would have. So Shaq is funny because he'll make fun of himself, which is different than laughing when you make fun of him.
Yes,
I guess,
yes,
because,
relatable content.
Yeah,
relatable content.
Shaq will be more than happy to make fun of himself, and like he put up his feet on the show last night.
Yes,
he took a picture of it. He's doing all those things. He'll fall down on purpose. He'll do all these ridiculous things so that you can laugh at him on his terms. But you definitely not going to laugh at him outside of his terms. But they all make fun of each other. I don't know. I don't want to defend Draymond.
I think Shaq would say the same thing that I say, and I think in part what Charles is probably thinking on this one. Oh, I laugh when things are funny.
Yeah. And Charles did him. Yeah. Charles
that
did the best.
Funny.
Yeah, Charles did the best possible thing, though, because I think my reaction would have been like, I'm going to fire back. I'm going to fire back with a joke or something like that. And he did. He just let it sit there, and it made it look worse and uncomfortable. And Draymond just had to power through.
And Charles is a great teammate. Like the decision to be like, nope, sit in this one. And then when Kenny was like, what does that look like?
Kenny was dirty.
And his response was, I saw it, or something to that effect. Yeah. And it was just like, nah, man, this ain't playing. Like, it's a wild week for Draymond in this regard. I actually think Draymond got a bad rap about the stuff he was saying about Steve Kerr, or for people who didn't see it.
Yeah.
Draymond made the point that, well, it was a multi-tiered point, and social producing rage bait jumped up, right?
Yeah,
and what Draymond said was...
I apologize for what my show did to you a couple days ago. I'm very sorry. I need to keep a closer eye, because all the shit that I've said on this show, you never hung me out to dry for clicks. We hung your ass out to dry for clicks, and I'm very sorry.
No, I appreciate that, because it did happen. All right, it did happen, but it's like, okay, we moved. But I thought this was interesting, though, with ESPN. I'm going to say something that you don't have to speak on when it gets to this. But Draymond said about Kerr, he was like, basically, this has been great, right? Like, we've won all these championships. Kerr helped make my career in a lot of ways, but he was like, but in some ways, I also feel like he hindered my career, because he felt like, just like, by the way, every player in the NBA feels, that they could have been a better offensive player on another team or in a different situation. And Draymond, unlike most people, has evidence. When Kerr wasn't here, I was shooting 40% from three and was killing it and our team won 73 games at the end of that season. I think they were like 39-4 or something like that in the time that Kerr was not there. And so I didn't think he was saying that Steve Kerr messed his career up. He was saying, but I do think that I had a better offensive game than Kerr gave me credit for having. And in that way, yeah, I do wonder what it would have been like. I thought that was perfectly reasonable, and that he got hung out to dry on that one by people who aggregated it. But this one right here, nah, dog, everybody was just like, ew.
Yeah. I mean, I think I feel like you're being generous in the way that you are like contextualizing the original statement, because it was, and I don't remember the exact wording, maybe I should look that up to be completely accurate, but I think what people had a hard time accepting from him is, for someone of his talent level, his career turned out on the fringe, the high fringe of the bell curve.
Yes.
And so for him to look back at his career and imply, or not even imply, I guess the implication is that his career could have been better.
Right.
And what he's saying is like, I could have been more effective offensively, but it's hard for me to imagine a situation where his career, given his talent, turns out any better.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting because Draymond bought Tom Izzo a Rolex.
Yeah.
Right? And look, Draymond Green was an excellent college basketball player, but nobody saw it coming.
Yeah.
Nobody saw it coming. The NBA, nobody saw it coming the way that it ultimately turned out. But the thing to remember, and we can't forget, is Kerr only started Draymond after David Lee got hurt.
Yeah.
That was never the plan. And so I think for Draymond, and I know this feeling when you feel like you with somebody that you realize, or you feel like, this cat never actually like really believed it.
Yeah.
All right. Or at least not in the way, or Draymond's probably looking at it like, he don't believe it like there's other cats that's out here that believed it, that there's other people I could have dealt with that would have believed it in a much different way. And I guess, I don't know. I don't think it's unreasonable, especially knowing that league, for that guy to be like,
Yeah.
but I think somewhere else I could have scored 17 a game. They all think that.
Yeah, I think of course they do. And that's like part of the reason why they're there. But I think that's the thing with Draymond. And I think that's part of what makes him interesting is like he, I don't even know if it's that he doesn't have a filter, but he doesn't have like another voice in there to like bounce these things off of and polish it up. Because I think you're saying something different than what it got experienced as. You're saying like, I could have put up better numbers. What I think people are hearing, and then to name Steve Kerr specifically, not just say, yeah, I imagine in a different situation, I could have put up better numbers. He's saying, I could have had a better career if Steve Kerr wouldn't have hindered me. And that's the part that I think is hard, is like, no, sir, I believe that there is not a better career. And of course, I understand him feeling like they don't believe in my offense that much, but they believe in you as core to this because of your defense and your ability to be an offensive fulcrum. They moved on from a lot of people.
Yes, they did.
And not
that
you.
That was Austin Rivers' point.
Yeah, they moved on from a lot of people and not you. You punch people in the locker room and you don't shoot as well as Clay. I know Clay got hurt, but like they moved on from a lot of these pieces. You are remaining. So like that's a level of confidence. And I know that it's not confidence in his offensive game necessarily, but we all know like Kevin Durant. Yeah. You was pissing off Kevin Durant. And I imagine that everyone knew that it was going to be one of y'all got to go. And they was like, we're going to stick by you. So that, I think
Well, hold on. Let me read the quote to people. This is the money quote. As much as he's done for me in basketball, a part of me thinks he's hindered me in my career and what I could have become. You know, when I think of who I was offensively as a player and who I became, I think a part of that is due to him. I don't hold that against him.
Right.
I think that's a fair factual statement that maybe, but I think what you're saying, and I think is fair, is maybe somewhere else they would have let him shoot more, or somewhere else he never would have got off to Oak.
Yeah. Like he's like a point center that's too small, like a short point center. Like it's a unique situation. Like it's not to denigrate him. Like he is incredible. You can't really compare him to anybody. He's like an incredibly unique basketball talent in a unique situation and time in the NBA. It worked out. It just like that's the part that is hard to accept, is like, he hindered you? You're a Hall of Famer, bro. You weren't hindered.
But you know what? It is the other part, too, about everybody having a podcast, man. Words mean things.
Yeah.
And he picked a bad one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's part of the gift of being able to do this. And I think that people, especially when they talk about guys going into media, we have this, the idea is that you get the outspoken guys, right? And they'll all be good on TV, or a guy that gives a good press conference. They'll all be good on TV. TV or whatever it is it's a different world. And especially with the podcast stuff now that it's so easy for people to hear it, record it, and disseminate it. Hindered is not the right word to use under those circumstances. And maybe you're right. I'm a little generous in the sense that I look at it like, hey, he probably meant a different word.
Yeah. Yeah. But I ultimately come back to, it's like, yeah, he's right. Another situation he could have scored more points. And is also another situation, David Lee stays healthy. He never gets off the bench.
Yes.
But like to me at least, I have a really hard time. If Draymond's career is simulated 100 times, like this is 92.
I don't think anybody has done more with what they had than Draymond Green.
So, like, how could his career be any better? Like, I'm being generous in saying that there might be 8 simulations where this turns out better. And that's just like if he hits a game winner in the finals or something. Like, it's one play swinging this. Like, I don't imagine that. I don't know. Like, and that's true of everybody. The luck, there's so much luck in the success that anybody has. And you can look at it. But it's easier to, like, discount that luck when you have more traditionally obvious talents for the field that you're in, that his just aren't like obvious.
How much money do you think this man has made in the NBA?
Over a quarter billion, right?
Close to a quarter. It's at 239.
Ooh-wee. I mean, it'll go over that. Oh, this is contract value or how much he's actually made, because
contract value through the 2026 season.
Okay. So that means, yeah, he gonna go over it.
Yep.
He
Yep. He
gonna
got
go over it next
27.
year.
He got 27.6 left.
He gonna go over it. Then he
Him,
gonna do it.
him, him and Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, amazing. Tobias Harris done made something like $300 million that ain't never made first, second, or third team. I think he got a vote 1 year. A vote. 1 year.
I used to, like, when I was at the football union, before I went over to the basketball union, I remember, like, every time basketball offseason would happen, we would have the blues at the union because all the football players would be pointing to those numbers and be like, our sport is bigger, this, that, and the other. And it's like, boys, man, the amount of money. The gap is so big now that I don't even think football players get irritated by it. Like, you just can't. It's only a few of them. It's a lot of money. And when we had that, like, social media argument about who's better athletes, football players or basketball players, like, I'm a football player. And if you've ever been courtside at an NBA game,
yes.
It's them.
I remember when we talked about this on here and your brethren were not happy with you for not holding the line.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. Like, they 6'7" and doing it, and they got the hand-eye coordination to hit half-court shots at like a 50% rate if you're not guarding them. And that's the boys who can't shoot.
Yes.
It's like if you ever been courtside at an NBA game, yeah, you would know better.
Yeah, but let me tell you some of those interesting, because I talked about the social media rage bait. You can find out, I did an interview with my buddy Ethan Strauss on his podcast, and I talked about, like, the conflicting incentives of social media producers and the talent that they deal with, because their game is to get engagement, and engagement is generated by getting people riled up, which is often counter to the aims of the host. And then, of course, they clip that and put it on the internet to be provocative for the people in a very similar way. It was ironic. It was humorous. But I admit at first, I was like, here these motherfuckers go. But anyway, SportsCenter's account, after they saw this discussion had become a thing, the SportsCenter account clipped it and was like, it got awkward with Draymond and Charles Barkley. And it may have had googly eyes or whatever it was. And I was like, see, that's the shit I'm talking about right there. This is your talent. You are either making your talent look like an asshole, or you are co-signing this erroneous thing about Charles, but we gonna get the people charged up. And I do want to do this right fast, because it does bother me sometimes when people denigrate what Charles is, because this quickly became a Draymond versus Charles. It didn't have to be that in terms of what kinds of players they were, and everything else, right? But Charles, in that last 3 years that he played with Houston, or I think it's 4 years, but he put up advanced statistics that were in line with what he did in Phoenix.
Sheesh.
Like, he was an excellent player all the way until the end. And he's always been perhaps the most unselfish, dominant scorer in the history of the game. And he dialed it back in that year. The problem was they was all old. If John Stockton doesn't hit that shot in game 6, maybe the Rockets got a chance. But actually, my favorite Charles Barkley with the Rockets moment ever is John Stockton, old dirty ass, tried to set a screen on Charles once that he had enough of, and Charles elbowed him in the chest. And they asked him what he was doing, and he said, I was trying to dislocate his shoulder or break his rib. And everybody laughed, and he said, I'm not joking.
Excellent, man. I think the Charles Barkley has, like, created, and I think that a lot of this is from Charles Barkley, the idea that the outspoken, brash guy, I think you can draw a straight line from Charles Barkley to the belief that Draymond is going to be great in media.
Yes.
Because it's like brash, outspoken, willing to say just about anything, but there's a humility and creativity that Charles Barkley had that I think it was hard to know. And maybe I was too young to witness it or understand it, and media was less, like, ubiquitous then, so you didn't see as much of the players. But, like, I think people draw the wrong conclusion. It's like loud, brash guy that offended the sensibilities of the mainstream. Oh, he's going to be great on TV. And it's like, nah, part of the problem with the Draymond experience, not that it's bad, he's good, but it's that, to your point about the social media stuff, they clip them up in order to get engagement or to upset people. And it's oftentimes torn out of context. Nah, not for Draymond. It's just he just talk like that. And that's just no. Draymond is just a perpetual like rage baiter, but he's not baiting. He just be raging people of how he feels, and it's like I don't know that people actually want that.
No, people don't want mean. Like
Yeah.
Shaq's problem is that he can be very mean. Like when it comes up, somebody steps on him the other way, he can be very mean. And Draymond, so Dominique, you and I talk about this, and I don't want to do this to talk about myself, but something that people don't grasp about me, the reason my thing works is I'm not mean.
Yeah.
Like I think that people, for whatever reason, believe that I'm mean, but you have no evidence, if you've ever been around me, that I'm mean to people, because being mean, it just don't work. If you're not mean, you can get away with so many things. You are one of the most decidedly unmean people that I've ever met. You could stand to be a little bit meaner, to be perfectly honest.
Fair point. Fair point.
But Draymond is mean.
Yeah, but you are. It's not only that you're not mean, you're kind, but I think it doesn't come through. And I think we could point to you are less concerned with. To me, at least, it seems like you're less concerned with the way that people interpret you. I'm putting it wrong, but I think
know
that
what you mean.
and part of the way is comparing it to myself. And part of the way that I behave publicly, I am some portion of my brain is trying to analyze how it's going to be received.
Yes.
And concerned about it being received the wrong way. I think whatever part that is for you is just less engaged, where it's like, I'm going to do this. And I think the Wire clip that you had is like an example of it, where it's like, they saying dumb shit. I'm going to tell them they saying dumb shit and then unpack their ass right here. And I think a lot of people see that, and some people see themselves as our instinct.
As the unpacky.
Right. Some people see ourselves as the unpacker, and some people see themselves as the unpackee. And then they see that, it's not the first time you've done something like that. You do it the beginning of your career was a lot of Twitter unpacking motherfuckers.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people are like, he's mean, because they like, man, I'm going to say something dumb and he going to rip me up. Whereas I see it like, yeah, get them dummies.
Yeah,
get them.
I can be mean to people.
I like him. He getting them dummies. That's how I feel.
Yeah, like I think I can be mean to people who I think are mean to me, right? Yeah. And I guess maybe that's the thing with Draymond is his threshold for when he thinks that somebody has been mean to him is very, very low. Like I would love to know, formatively speaking, like his house or whatever it is, because he might got one of them houses where that's how they all talk to each other. Like, when you meet those people and then you go to their house and you be like, damn, I can't even tell y'all like each other. And then they get out in the wild and they like, everybody else is just sensitive. Now, I always tell people, this is a very important point. If on one side is everybody and on the other side is you, chances are you are the person that needs to move toward the norm. It's not always the case, but it's entirely possible that's the space. And so, yeah, when you get a lot of these guys, you can be solemn, you can be stern, you can be all these things. The one thing you can't be on television is mean, especially not to, like, people love Charles. We let Charles get away with a lot of craziness.
Yes.
Because we love Charles.
Yes. Charles, yeah. Remember when Charles had that show with Gail?
Oh, I do.
Charles was going a political run. Yeah.
Brother, I have a Charles story that's so insane that I never tell it on the air because I love Charles too much to do this to him. But the fact that nobody did him in for it is like, oh, we just made a decision that Charles gets to play by complete. Look, that first year of Inside the NBA, nothing has ever been like it. I could not believe the things that man was saying. Like he actually reeled it in after year one. I could not believe it. But then on top of it, the thing with Charles was they would run practical jokes on Charles on television that he had no idea were coming. I wish you would do that to me. I wish. Like, and when you go down there and do their shows, you got to be ready because the culture has been set by the fact that we can do these things to Charles. Like, it requires, I think this is what also comes down to on those things. It requires a measure of trust. Yeah. Like, when I used to do shows with Dan and them, I ain't trust them like that, right? Them jokes ain't feel gentle. Them jokes did not, like, it was kind of like, so what you trying to say, right? Like, that's, and when it's trust, it doesn't go to the what you trying to say part. Draymond has no trust from anybody. on
That's
this stuff.
interesting. That's interesting. The trust thing is, I hadn't considered that, but I think you're right. It's like they are not trying to. I've done a bunch on TV and I've had a lot of really good interactions and experiences. And like, I'll do a good amount of like making fun of people, but there is like some relationship and there's some times where it's like, it doesn't. I haven't had it in a long time, but there's been a few times where it didn't go over well, where I felt like I needed to apologize to somebody because like I recognize that we entertain and we having a good time, but like I think where it comes from, the reason the need for an apology, at least from my perspective, was because it was mean and it was clear that we didn't have that relationship, right? We don't actually have this relationship to do this. And also where it happens is when when it's not reciprocated, when they don't have that, I don't want to say ability, but like that nature, they didn't grow up in that environment, they aren't comfortable with it. It ain't fun when one side got all the good jokes and the other side is just back there looking beat upon.
Well, you also got to recognize the weight of who you are, right? Like there's certain ways that I can't talk to people because of how things land because of who I am within the ecosystem, right? Like you and I have literally, and we've been doing this now for a decade in various forms and fashions. We have never raised our voices at each other. It like not even a little bit, right? Like there's a disagreement. Hold up, let me see. Like we have a level of trust that is built through iteration. I've done TV shows with people and done radio shows with people where the trust just wasn't there. And people do not trust Draymond. That's what it comes from, punching people in the face and all this other stuff. Or the thing with Kerr is people don't trust him. Like I will see sometimes when something goes over in a way that I don't intend online and people's response will be, hey man, I've been listening to him for a long time. I know what it is that he's saying right there. And Draymond has zero trust. Speaking of trust, there's somebody outside who has been trusting me with this trophy. And so I am going to bring this trophy back to him. But first, I'm going to give him one of these. I hugged a tree this weekend, Domonique. It was so amazing. I was out with my club and they were like, yo, you got to hug the tree. And I was like, I ain't got to do shit. And they was like, nah, you got to hug the tree. And I was like, okay. And you know, when you loosen up and get into hugging the tree, I kind of see the point. But I saw my homie Brad, he was there with his wife and she got him in the tree hugging. And man, he was hugging a big old tree. That motherfucker was out here all the way like this from sea to shining sea hugging that tree. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. And I was like, damn. But he looked very happy hugging that tree.
That's a literal thing? I thought tree hugging was just
No, I thought it was too. But I was out there with some old woo-woo motherfuckers, man. They was all hugging. They were like, yo, you gonna hug the tree? Like, they were saying, are you gonna hug the tree? Like, you're not gonna get some water? Like, it was the thing. But in absence of the tree, I'm going to hug Larry a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
See you,
See
Larry.
the net right there. You can get that picture in there. We got the teams all around. It came in a Tiffany bag. I think I already said all those things. But
did it come in a big box too, right?
A giant box.
Yeah.
A giant box with wheels.
Yep.
Did you see that story? I would say this right fast before we break. About the guy who had to check his Oscar. This guy won an Oscar for like best documentary, and TSA made him check it because they said the Oscar could be a weapon, and then they lost it.
No.
It was eventually found.
That's nuts.
But look, they're not wrong. Now, I would say if we found out that somebody hijacked a plane because they beat the pilot over the head with an Oscar, that would be some wild shit, right? But, you know.
I assume like that's a weird. I mean, because it's blunt. It's not like Emmy. The wings, I feel like are sharp. Like a blunt weapon is weird. It's like I could bring a dumbbell. They wouldn't tell me that was a weight.
Yes, they would.
Really?
Man, I tried to travel once with a workout system of sorts, and it had a bar.
Oh, and it was like, nah.
Now they was like, you can check it and throw it away.
I respect it. I mean, I might. Yeah, I love TSA. It never fails. So I get the most love.
That's true. That is our room. Those are people. You know what I'm saying? But coming up next, gonna talk a little bit about Ted Turner and a little bit more on the right time. You can predict the playoff action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. All you have to do is sign up to get your $25 bonus. Follow all the playoff dishes, swishes, wishes, and misses. Every move is a potential plot twist. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Where one run, one rebound, one shot changes everything. From opening tip to the final buzzer, stay locked in with every pass, every play, and every moment that moves us closer to crowning a champion. Sign up now for your $25 bonus on FanDuel Predicts. Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18 plus. Bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with our consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at fanduel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms. Summer is coming up soon, and a lot of us have been thinking about getting into better shape. However, as men get older, their bodies don't just snap back into shape as they did in their 20s. That's where Mars Men comes in. Mars Men is a natural supplement designed to support healthy testosterone levels, which can help your body burn fat more efficiently and build lean muscle. When your hormones are working the way they're supposed to, a lot of things can get easier. Workouts, energy, even staying lean. It's basically helping your body get back to running like it did years ago. No weird stimulants or synthetic hormones. Best of all, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case, you don't absolutely love it and you get your money back, but over 91% of users report higher energy levels. Thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website to see for yourself. For a limited time, our listeners can get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. And it's also available on Amazon. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. All right, we are back with Domonique Foxworth. You told me you had never really been like super hip to Ted Turner.
I mean, I was always aware of him. Like, yeah, he was.
Yeah, but not in like a particular way.
Nah.
So Ted Turner passed away, I guess, on Wednesday, or at least we got news on Wednesday. Ted owned the Braves. So that's always been, that was always the thing for me, is that Ted Turner owned the Braves and he owned the Hawks when I used to do that dumb shit. And so Ted Turner is interesting in that he goes back to a time where rich people were interesting and kind of fun. And by the way, he consistently said and did the wrong thing in so many ways, right? Like Ted, have you seen the thing where they were talking about the Pope and Ted Turner told a Polak joke?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, he was like, it's a Polish mine detector and pointed at his foot. He was talking about the Pope.
Oh, gosh.
But
Ted is like, it sounds like, at least, I don't know his upbringing, but by how he used to comport himself, it sounded like he was self-made.
Well, let me give you a hint on that. It's very interesting. So Ted's father owned a billboard company.
Right. He painted the...
Yeah.
Right?
And the billboard company became kind of the basis for everything else. Mm-hmm. But this is the story that will tell you everything. And this is from Spencer Hall and Holly Anderson's newsletter, Channel 6. I cannot recommend that you do this enough. I don't know who writes what at any given point in time. So we'll say it's Spencer and Holly. This is the lead to what he had on Ted Turner that I swear, if they did not have this already on deck, this is another, wow, you amazing people. Okay. This is the first 2 paragraphs. Ted Turner kept the gun his father killed himself with in his office desk. Sometimes during negotiations heading the wrong way, he would reportedly take it out and spin the barrels as he held it against his head and say, "Now, I don't really like the way this is going right now." At this point, usually the negotiations would pivot in favor of Ted, and the gun would find its way back into the drawer. This is obviously an obituary for an insane person. In Ted Turner's case, insanity meant something very specific, believing in his heart and soul that he could be in 2 places at once all the time.
That's incredible tidbit, incredible writing, and also a reminder that there's a thin line.
It is.
There's a thin line, man. There is a thin line. All like innovation and amazingness and progress happens at the fringes of society and with fringe people, but all the amazing and surprising negative stuff that also comes from them same motherfuckers.
Yes, it does. No, so Ted's game and everything was to find low undervalue assets. Like that's what Channel 17 was that turned into TBS, for example. And then eventually became CNN. And that is the most world-changing. Very few people in media have ever changed the world themselves quite like Ted Turner did with CNN. And CNN started, I want to say in 1980 or 1981, but it really, really, really bore fruit in 91 when the Gulf War came, when everybody else is going off the air and they showing the war the whole way because he has the 24-hour news station, a station, by the way, where he had video prepared in case the world ended to run, singing with a band playing a hymn. I will give you another great Ted Turner story. Later in life, Turner would attempt to solve quantum issues in his personal life by installing a rotation of 4 girlfriends. Each got a week on the calendar per month, which Turner thought was overly fussy, but still the fairest arrangement. Now, when Turner was married to Jane Fonda, and keep in mind that when he was, we'll call it courting Jane Fonda, was while he was doing the Goodwill Games, and he was supposed to go to the Goodwill Games, but for the first time, he felt like he had a chance to, shall we say, put the hay in the barn. And so he called the Goodwill Games people and told them no, he would not be making it there because he would be with Jane Fonda, but Craig Sager could take his place. And Craig Sager did. Ted Turner also personally gave $1 billion to the United Nations when the United States itself wasn't giving money to the United Nations, right? Like in this also, Spencer makes a good point. A line that Jesse Jackson had is that Ted was insensitive, but generally fair. And that's what it was. Like he was that white man. I talk about this all the time growing up in some for real South. The white man that say the crazy stuff is sometimes the white man you need.
This is not growing up in the South and like spent a little bit of time down there, enough time to like reaffirm stereotypes and caricatures of the people down there that I had pre-existing. Like it sounds crazy, but like you mentioned, we've been working together for more than a decade now. And it's sad for me to say that I was like in my, I guess, mid-30s around then, or early 30s. It was you who was like, hey, why don't you take another look? You didn't say it specifically, but like take another look at the people that you think got your back and the people that you think don't. And I think a lot of this is, obviously, it gets difficult when you are like policing people's words. And that's why I said it seemed like Ted Turner, the way he behaves is like he was self-made because he don't know how to act and talk in polite society, and he never has cared to. But it's a reminder, I think, for us all. It's like, it's just a word here and there. The substance is different, and understand, not to say that anybody is good or bad or whatever. It's just like jump to these conclusions. It was meandering, but I've come to realize that some of the people who say all the right things that profess to be on my side are much worse for me than the people who say the wrong things and openly put themselves on the other side.
Yep. No, every now and then, Ted gets you on some dog. I can't believe you did that, man. I can't believe you did that. Other things Ted did that people can't believe. Ted at one point named himself the manager of the Atlanta Braves. It only worked for one game before the commissioner told him that they would take the team from him if he would do something silly like that. Another great Ted story is they had a pitcher. I think his name was Andy Messersmith. Either way, his number was 17, or at some point his number became 17, and Ted got the bright idea, why don't you guys start calling him Channel and create this nickname for him as Channel? And then how about we put on the back of his jersey, rather than his last name, Channel? So it would say Channel 17 on his jersey as advertisement for the team. And they were like, nah, pimpin', we not going to do that. But at the same time, while Ted is the guy that gave this gazillion dollars to the United Nations and stood and said he was putting rich people on notice, he was going to call them and that we was going to do our part and everything else. Ted is the guy who did those things. Ted is also the guy who bought up all that land in Montana because if he had it, then nobody could mess it up. Like there are people who truly believe that Ted saved like the American bison in the United States of America. Like he was a bold man with ideas. Ted also got kicked out of Brown because he had a girl in his room.
Absurd.
That really happened. I've
been to Ted's restaurant and had a bison burger that he preserved and protected. But yeah, like that's it. It feels like Ted Turner represents a type of like ultra rich person that we used to believe was real and we no longer feel like believe is real, where it's kind of eccentric and fun, but ultimately at his core, a decent person, says and does wrong things occasionally, but like it's not from a malicious place. I mean, I think I was going to say not to eulogize him, but like he is dead. So I think everyone is going to say more positive things about him in general. But it seems more honest than what I think we experience now with a lot of the like super rich.
Yeah, like, you know what? It's that he started as a kind of rich.
Yeah.
And in order to get his bread, he had to do like daring Carnival Barker kinds of things, right? So I think it then, goes like Ted used to be on all the like late night talk shows and everything else, and Ted had real actual jokes that he would tell when he was around people. Like, no, they didn't make a lot of dudes like that. And again, we talk about the impact that he had on the world. You can't really downgrade it. You can't really downplay it. And by the way, when all the white people were running out of Atlanta, I saw somebody make this point online. They're correct. When all the white people were leaving Atlanta, Ted set up shop, right, in the city of. And that's a very, very important thing for a city that was hugely affected by white flight. He was also, and this is why I can say it gets interesting, Ted was riding for the Palestinians. Like, he played it as neutral, but he was just kind of like, hey, man, one side got an army, one side don't.
All right. To the point that I made earlier, how I say crazy things on here and you always protect me, I'm about to say one. I have been, like, in the last few months, I think I've never understood conspiracy theorists more than I do now. Is where you feel that something different is happening, but you're watching and you aren't understanding it. When you brought up the Palestinians, it's like, yeah, remember when that was a thing we heard about all the time?
Yes.
And then with like the way that the ceasefire has been like violated, but we're being told that it wasn't violated. It's like, I wonder how the rest of the world experiences this. And then this war that we're in, or I guess it's currently on break, that war, like, it started when we was bombing schools, man.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. And this is not to suggest any conspiracy theory, but it's just, I think what I was saying, why I feel like I sympathize with them more than before is because I understand that there are decisions made for what we will watch and read and see, and those influence the conversation. And I imagine in the rest of the world, it's like America started this war by bombing kids.
Yeah.
But here, all I'm hearing about is gas prices.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like a crazy person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like eventually years and years of feeling like that, I imagine that at some point, I'm going to be like, it's a massive conspiracy to hide all this shit from us.
And by the way, just in line with that, in the contradictions of Ted Turner, he's the guy that was riding for Palestine, and he was also tomahawk chopping it up through those runs. His woman doing it with two hands, because one tomahawk chop was not enough.
They still doing that at FSU, right?
They still doing it in Atlanta too.
Oh, they are still doing it in Atlanta too?
Yeah, they still
I guess they still called the Braves.
They are still called the Braves. Like, look.
Did they take the tomahawk off the jersey, or that's still there?
They never did. That just tells you how wild it was that a team used to be called the Redskins. Because that allowed everybody else to skate. Because that was such a preposterous notion, and they can't wait to bring that shit back.
It's been noticed that they are going back to a lot of the old aesthetic, and they're taking the name Commanders off of a lot of things. Like, people believe that they might go with the Warriors, and not go all the way back to the original name.
Yeah. No, I don't think you can do that, right? Like, I don't. At least I don't.
I don't know why you would want to. You far enough away now. Like, what you doing?
And nothing happened. Like, you guys, everything kind of worked itself out. And by the way, on Ted, we didn't even have a chance to get into the wrestling. Like, there's a zillion different other things on this with Ted that we could have. I would recommend, there is a docuseries that I think was done through CNN, but it's called Call Me Ted, which is based on his autobiography, that is on HBO Max. It's a bit sanitized, but very interesting. And as Spencer makes the point about his autobiography, tells a lot about his penchant for adultery and a lot about his struggles with mental health. Like, he was an American original, as they often say. And when I was younger, I didn't quite get why saying that about somebody could be such a big deal. But now I understand it in a much, much, much different way, right? Like, There's something to be said about somebody when you meet him and you're like, damn, they only made one of those. You know what I mean?
or only one of those made it. It might be the way. Might be the way that I would move your words around a little bit.
Yes,
and say that. Yeah, I think to go back to the Draymond conversation is like there were 110 turners. Only one of them turned out to be a success.
Yeah, and speaking of making it, who is trying to make it such that the New England Patriots have to get a new head coach?
Oh gosh.
Because, by the way, for the Patriots to be so boring for all these years, they stay off in some scandal, right? Like, there's a flat-out boring squad that's always in some scandal. And for all the people that are like, Diana career over, but ain't nothing happening to Mike Vrabel, something happened to Mike Vrabel every day in the news, which means something happened to Mike Vrabel every day at the crib. And somebody really came with maybe not the big joker, maybe it's just the little joker, maybe it's the deuce of spades. I don't know. But they put it out that they was kicking it while she was 7 months pregnant. Who knew that Mike Vrabel listened to UGK? That is a reference that 8 people listening to this show get, and every single one of them thinks that that's amazing. But that happened. This has really happened. I don't think he's going to be the coach on opening week.
Yeah, I think you're right. Our friend Charlie said yesterday when I was talking to him that he would put money on Mike Vrabel being the coach at Ohio State in 4 years.
Oh, yeah, they don't care about this.
Yeah, it's like, it's a perfect thing, too. It's like, Day is going to underachieve just enough. Mike Vrabel going to be home for a couple of years, and they going to be like, you're out of there, Day.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it's like, it's the perfect thing where Charlie skipped to the beginning or to the end of this. This shit sucks, man. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I get that it was kind of funny to start with. Like, I stopped laughing a long time ago.
I didn't think it would still be going on.
Yeah.
Right. So
bad.
Mike,
you're right. Mike is somebody. Yeah, this stuff keep coming, and like it's gonna be hard for Mike Vrabel to continue.
And look, I think there's a part of the misery the two of them are enduring right now that we ain't talking enough about, which is I bet they miss the hell out of each other right now. Like there's one thing that might make everything better, and it is not available. It's not on the board. It's not there.
And I think so. Like, I think that part is super obvious too, where it's like it appears that they weren't each other's side.
Right.
Like, it was a double main situation. Like, you was doing things that I cannot imagine. You know, like multiple hour 2-person boat rides. Like, we going on vacations. Like,
yo, and she out to here.
I love you.
She out to here. Like, and look, the messiness of it, I think for me in the beginning, I think that this is something that's universally funny to people, which is watching people get caught.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that was the thing about the Coldplay concert situation. Yeah. It was funny because it was so obvious that they had gotten caught. Relatable content is getting caught doing something. Whatever the something happens to be, that is relatable content, and how you try to get out of it. Like, remember when the Coldplay thing happened and everybody was like, no, this is how you get out of it. Hey, okay, I don't know if you want to brag about this in front of your woman, but just saying. It's all relatable content, right? Everybody can see that. But now, this is a for real, somebody doesn't want him to keep coaching this football team, it feels like. They also, by the way, the Patriots had the Stephon Diggs thing go down this week. And that one I thought was interesting in a different way. Because if you remember, when this first came up, they didn't do any sort of discipline to him whatsoever. They just kept him out there. And it was easy to go on the cynical, it only matters if you're winning, right? But no, it turns out that he was like, nah, dog, this is some nonsense. And then it turned out to be some nonsense.
That was always the fight, or not always the fight. At one point, it was the fight when I was at the union with the league all the time, and that is a fight that we ultimately lost on. And I think it's probably better for the league as a whole, but it's worse for, I think, individual players. Is like, no, we got to wait for the legal process, man. You can't be out here punishing people based on evidence that you have or ideas that you have or insinuation. But the difference is, like, I was concerned with like justice, and the league was concerned with marketing. And it's like, no, this one random player whose name 90% of the country didn't know, like, if he got a whiff of anything, get him out of here and protect the shield, as they say. And we can't have him out there playing on Sunday so people talking about it the way that they're talking about it. And I think that ultimately might end up being the reason why the Vrabel, like, if this stuff keep coming, like, I don't even know, how there's like no way they gotta be together.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's the only. It's like I didn't have the heart or courage to leave what I was in before, but this is my person. I'm sorry for everybody I hurt and how we can. But then we got the boys. I don't even want to talk about this shit, man.
Hey, bro, let me tell you, I just throw it out here. I ain't never seen nobody happier than that time I saw TJ Holmes and his new woman together at the Soho House. They looked at that. That's what love looked like right there. They was like, you know, the joke people tell on the internet, don't let your marriage stop you from your true love. Like that appeared to be that. Like, I only brought it up because I do think it's worth noting, and it's important. It's become such a football story because the nature of this scandal makes it feel like this isn't ending anytime soon. And I just don't know how long it can continue to go without. But you know what helps? Going to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, that helps. That helps a lot.
Yeah, if he had put up a Gerard Mayo situation, nah.
He won't be done. Even if he does leave the Patriots, he won't be done. Somebody else will bring him back in. He'll go to some more therapy. He'll have enough time off, and someone will bring him back. If I'm skipping some steps, but like it's different, obviously, for Diana. She's in a much worse situation where it's like, because Mike's thing is not a demonstration of him doing his job improperly or
Correct.
not being able to do his job. But for Diana, like, it's as implications on like how she could do her job. And like with the way that media's changed, I'm sure there's a lane out there for her if she wants to take it. But I know her. That doesn't seem like a lane that she would be interested in.
I just hope she moves out of that house.
Yeah.
I would recommend. But you know what? Domonique Foxworth.
Thank you.
I'm always looking out, big dog.
I appreciate you, man.
We in safe space. Always looking at Domonique Foxworth. Check him out on the Domonique Foxworth Show. Available where all fine podcasts are given away for free. My brother, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this thing 4 days a week. Ryan Brumley handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.